the company had the right of first refusal, and they exercised their right to preempt the guy and buy it at that price. So at that point, I could care less. Whoever's got the money, grease my palm, and you got it. So they bought it from me, and they spent the $80,000 remodeling it, and business went to 1/2 of what we were doing, which would have bankrupted me. So it turns out it was a good decision, but it's not a decision that I wanted to make, because I would have been more than happy to retire from that restaurant. But that was just it was sort of a fluke to get it in the first place. It was sort of a fluke to not have it anymore. So that was so I was back to probation work. I was partners with Hans Reuter on Speakeasy Pizza in El Cajon, and that wasn't such a great deal. Hans approached as one of my customers, and as also a personal friend, approached me, and for some reason or other he wanted to get in the pizza business and didn't quite have the guts to go it alone. So he wanted me to provide supposedly the expertise for half ownership, and he would put up the required monies. Well, we did it, and it just didn't work. Now, we spent a lot of time remodeling the place and redoing various things about it, but pretty soon Hans decided that he didn't need my quote-unquote expertise all that much. Little things like I would tell him that we needed to weigh the cheese that goes on the pizza, and his reply would be something to the effect, well, we're not a franchise, so we don't have to weigh it, because he resented anything that was an inference of Straw Hat does it this way, and so we should do it. I tried to tell him, hey, Hans, I don't care if you want to put 20 pounds of cheese on the pizza, but every pizza should have 20 pounds, not some pizzas, And then, of course, he said, well, you had your boys working at your restaurant, so I want my kids working at this restaurant. Well, I had fired 2 of his kids because they were lousy workers, and it turns out all 3 of them were lousy workers, but he hired them and stuff like that. I could just see it wasn't going to work, so I sold out to him. The way we resolved it was, I suggested sort of something like the Solomon principle. I said, let's just draw straws, and the winner gets to decide whether he wants to name the price or let the other person name the price. And whoever names the price, then the other person gets their choice. They can buy it at that price or they can sell it at that price. So you don't want to, if you're the one that set the price, you don't want to set it too low, because then they'll say, I'll buy it, and you get screwed on that. If you set it too high, the opposite. So at any rate, it ended up that I set the price, and Hans had the option of buying it or selling it at that price. He bought it, so I was out of the business. But there was a little clause in the lease that said that if the entire shopping center were to be torn down, all leases are null and void. Then that's exactly what they did. They tore down the entire shopping center, and so Hans was dispossessed. And for some reason or other, and I never asked him why, but he took all the equipment and tables and all that and put them into storage, and then never did open another location. So, of course, by then I was starting to worry about age, because let's see, I was, suppose about 50 years old when I took the test, but I'm sure because of my youth authority, I'm sure why I got hired, because all the probation departments hold the youth authority up like that's the ultimate. It's a feather in their hat if they have a youth authority employee in their employ. So I'm sure it wasn't me that got the job, it was my experience with the youth authority.
How about, we'll skip forward in time to when your dad handed the property over to you. What was the circumstances of why he did that, and how did it work out?
Well, I really can't answer that because I have no idea why they actually bailed out at the time they did, because I think Dad was about 60. And the only thing I can figure out is that he was either concerned about his own health or Grandma's health and the remoteness from emergency hospital care, or he might have had no major projects left on his agenda, and he required major projects to be happy. So I really don't know why, but at any rate, he split it up where Dave got the homestead, the original place, and of course I got this side of the lagoon, and then Karen got the property in Crane Lake. We had a boathouse and some land right in the Crane Lake Harbor, and Karen got that. Karen had no interest in this neck of the woods or